Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm Stacy. I'm gonna go over this book that I just finished last night. No sleep, stayed up all night reading this for y'all just to give you this review. And grab a snack, get cozy, come on back. We're gonna talk about this Let Us Descend by Jesmyn Ward. He's never gonna have his cycle, he's never going to experience. And I like this book. I really love that book, but I'm interested to see. I don't want to say they drugged for the family, but they were very fancy. But I will read this book, give it a chance and see. You know, Kindle, I downloaded Verity. So I have the first 3 books of those, which I do plan to read soon. Let Us Descend by Jesmyn Ward. First, let's talk about the aesthetics of this book. It was a really pretty book. I love that she has this tone of yellow with the bee on it, and the aesthetics of it. It was a nice size book. It wasn't too heavy for a hardback, and the sleeve was like nicely on it and never like adjust and came off of it. This book was recommended and given to me by a client, so I don't know how much she paid for it, but it's listed as US dollars, $28. This is the author, Jesmyn, I don't know if I'm saying it right, Ward. The synopsis reads, Let Us Descend is a reimagining of American slavery, as beautifully rendered as it is, warm-hearted, searching, harrowing, replete with transcendent love. The novel is a journey from the rice fields of the Carolinas to the slave markets of New Orleans, into the fearsome hearts of Louisiana sugar plantation. Annis, sold south by the white enslaver who fathered her, is the reader's guide through this hellscape. As she struggles through the miles-long march, Annis turns inward, seeking comfort from memories of her mother and stories of her African warrior grandmother. Throughout, she opens herself to a world beyond this world, one teeming with spirits of earth and water, of myth and history, spirits who nature and give and those who manipulate and take. Wow, Ward leads readers through the descent. This, her 4th novel, is ultimately a story of rebirth and reclamation from one of the most singularly brilliant and beloved writers of her generation. This miracle of a book inscribes Black American grief and joy into the very land, the rich but unforgiving forests, swamps, and rivers of the American South. Let Us Descend is Jesmyn Ward's most magnificent novel yet, a master's work for the ages. She's a gifted writer, is what it says on the back. It says one of the most searing and singularly gifted writers working today. Ward is one of the most poetic writers in the conversation about American unfinished business in the South. Signature characteristic of Ward's prose is its lyricism. So this book got a lot of praise about her writing style, which I'm going to get into that in just a minute. But let's just go over my basic review on how I just flatly rate all books that I read and how I feel and what I personally thought. So you might agree, you might not. I usually don't give away any spoilers in my reviews. I just give like a basic generic, overview of what I felt and what I thought, and I rate it on the system that I have like come up with that makes the most sense for me to give it like a 1 out of 5 rating, fair rating from my point of view. So Let Us Descend, it is a historical fiction with elements of magical, like spirituality in this as well. It was a literary fiction, Southern Goth. This was pre-Civil War in America, American South. It was about this girl. Her name is Annis. It's Annis, Annis. She's an enslaved girl, and she starts seeing spirits, I'll say. from her ancestors. I read this book. It was like I said, a hardcover copy of this book. Hardcover of it, paperback. They come in paperback because I saw it in the store at paperback, but I read the hardcover because I don't know why. Some people don't like hardcovers, but I'm a hardcover girl. And I just like the scent of it. I just love how it smells. I love how it feels. I just like this book. I really liked it. That was my first off the rip. I'm like, oh, I judge a book by its cover every day, all day. That is just me. Would I read this book again? No. Would I recommend it? Yes. I would recommend this book to someone who loves poetry, who loves lyrical writing, who has that abstract mind where they can see like in a different world, and it puts you in the place of this little girl. So, borderline fantasy. I wouldn't give it 100% fantasy, but it was beautifully written for that sake. It was the themes that resonated with me. It was the characters that she kept conjuring, I guess. It reminded me of my ancestors that passed, and if you like are into that type of thing, and it has potential to like grabs you in that time frame of the pre-Civil War, and you see the struggles of this girl, you know, with displacement in the family and traveling from North Carolina to Louisiana, and it takes you to the swamps and the alligators and the snakes and the rats and all of those type of things, the bees. She also was very analytical with how she spoke about the movements in the bee world. So that was something. That was a little nugget that just like, I was like, okay, it was fine. Annis, this girl, she had potential, but I don't think the main character really hit with me. I just was not in her same, I couldn't get really connected with her for some reason. I just couldn't connect with really any of the characters in this book. Emotions and thoughts, it reminded me whenever I go to my family reunion in Mississippi, think about the ancestors and the people who were here before me and the life that they had. My opinion about the author, she lives in Mississippi is what it says. Let me tell you what it says. It says so. Jesmyn Ward, she received her MFA from University of Michigan and has received the MacArthur Genius Grant at a Stinger Fellowship, a John and Renee Grissom Writer Residency. So she's very acclaimed. She's an award-winning for her American fiction. She has won 2 National Book Awards for fiction, and that's for the Song Unburied Sing in 2017 and Salvage the Bones 2011. I do have both of those books. She is also an author of the novel Where the Line Bleeds and the memoir of Men That Reaped, which was the finalist in the National Book Critic Circle Awards and won the Chicago Tribune Heartland Prize in the Media for Just Society Awards. She is currently a professor of creative writing in Tulane University, and she lives in Mississippi. So my opinion about the author and the writer, she's very acclaimed, and she's won a lot of awards, award-winning. Very unique how she wrote this book. It read like poetry. So if you are into that, it's very poetic and lyrically written. To me, it was not easy to read because I'm not a fan of poetry. That's just not how I like to read a novel. I want to just read like a story that flows straight and through. I don't want to think about how the wording is placed and how she made that person feel with emotions that bleed through each word. I'm not that type of reader. So I would just like it to get to the point. She didn't, and this book was short. She didn't get to the point. It took a while. It was drawn out. It was kind of slow for me. Some people say medium pace, but it was very slow for me. Her writing style, I would say if you're into the poetry, you can give her a 5 out of 5 for the poetry. And she is a creative professor in writing. So 5 out of 5 style for that. But for me, it was 1 out of 5. Relatability, the story to me, I didn't find it relatable because she kept conjuring the spirits and talk about the weather and all these different things, relatable. It was a 2 out of 5 for me. Originality, 5 out of 5. It was different. And I would say different because this came out 2023 and I just finished that book, Junie, and it kind of had the same thing. So she was more original than Junie because she was the first that I read to do it, even though I read Junie before I read this one. So I'll say originality, yes, it was pretty original for me, 5 out of 5. Readability, 1 out of 5. It just didn't flow like I wanted it to flow. Personal impact, I really didn't get anything out of it, but I can see other people getting something out of this book and taking on these feelings that the girl had in the book. Me, 1 out of 5. Plot, 1 out of 5. I really checked out after page 200 because I was just like, okay, I'm going to finish it. Like, begrudgingly, I did finish this book, but I could have DNF'd it and got the same results. Like, it just didn't hit for me like I thought it would hit. What I liked for this was, if you like that writing style, it will give it to you. You know, there was no holes in this writing. Like, it was very creative how it was written. And I can see why Oprah picked this book, Oprah Winfrey, but it just was not my cup of tea. And it wasn't harsh. It was about, you know, slavery. And that's a hard subject to write about. But I did like that she didn't go like too vulgar with her language, like her verbiage. She was very clean with it. She didn't have any profanity. She didn't have like any harsh smut or sex scenes in it. It was just like something that you could just pick up and read it. But it felt like homework to me. Like, that's just how I felt. Like, if you were to read this in high school and get tested on it, I could see a high school person would have to read in their curriculum. What wasn't my cup of tea, it was just hard to follow with the spirits talking, and you didn't know if it was the weather, if you didn't know if it was her grandmother or her mom or her great grandmother or what. So overall, I give this a 2 out of 5. Spice level, 1 out of 5. Would I read something else by her? Yes. I already bought her books, so I'm going to give this book back to my client. She loved it. She raved about it. And I just hate giving like a mid review on books that people actually really, really love. So I'm going to go ahead and add this to the final book about slavery that I'm reading this year. This is the 5th one. And I'm going to do a video about ranking all of the historical fiction slave books that I read this year in 2025. So thank you guys for watching. You can like, comment, subscribe, whatever you feel. But just tell me if you have read this book or not. And I want to hear what you think and who you would recommend it to and why you love this book. Tell me in the comments, or, you know, let's connect on Goodreads. I'm Stacy Amanda on Goodreads, and we can see. But thank you guys for watching again. Have a good day.